Hi, I'm Davey from MKDVB. When I first saw the announcement for the Chase Bliss Lossy, I was kind of a bit, You know, a digital emulation pedal, it's not a sound that I use very often. I decided to check out the intro video anyway, and I heard some cool sounds. So, you know, Chase Bliss pedals, they're pretty easy to kind of try out, and then if you don't want to keep them, you can move them on pretty quickly. So why not take a chance? Was it worth it? Let's dig into it after the open. As always, I want to start with the sound quality. And the Chase Bliss Lossy sounds amazing. You know, Chase Bliss's motto or slogan or whatever you want to call it is digital brain, analog heart. And I don't know how they did it. You know, this pedal is modeling, it's kind of emulating digital distortion, digital artifacts, and digital kind of degradation. And yet somehow it still sounds really vibey and warm and analogish. And I don't know how they pulled that trick off. Now, I know some people are saying that this is basically a plugin in a box. I can't agree with that. I even shot the Lossy pedal out against the Lossy plugin. I put out a series of 3 videos where I compared it with synthesizer, with guitar, and with voice. And in all 3 cases, hands down, the pedal won, right? It was kind of close on the voice, but I still preferred the pedal, and it was way faster for me to dial in the sounds that I loved on the pedal. But the sounds in the plugin don't move me to the same extent that the Lossy pedal does. So it really, really sounds amazing. I also have to talk about, you know, previous Chase Bliss pedals, they sound really cool once you kind of start messing with the flip switches in the back, right? To get some really cool, unusual sounds going on, like things like, you know, blooper, you know, I have a womb tone. Right? You gotta start using those flip switches to get that movement into the sound, and it really starts going somewhere really, really cool. But the Lossy and the reverse mode C sound amazing just all out of the box, right? Just tweaking the knobs and flipping the toggle switches on the front. You can get some really, really awesome sounds without ever touching those flip switches. I've barely messed with those on the Lossy, and I love all the sounds that I'm getting. In fact, I'd have to say that it's a toss-up between the Lossy or the CXM 1978 as to which is my favorite sounding Chase Bliss pedal. Hell, maybe just my favorite sounding pedal, period. That's how much I'm loving the sounds out of the Chase Bliss Lossy. It's got one of the largest sweet spots that I've ever seen in a pedal.
And the filter to about, I don't know, 1 o'clock.
So another thing that I really love about this pedal is that it feels more like a sound design tool and less of like a effects preset box. You've got a lot of ways to really configure your sound here. I love pedals that kind of give you these sonic building blocks, and then you're able to kind of scope your own sound. So for instance, if I wanted just, let's say like a reverb and I didn't want all the lossy stuff, I could just dial down some of the loss and the speed and just dial up the reverb and I have a reverb, right? Or if I wanted a telephone booth sound, I can maybe dial up the loss, maybe do a little filtering and get a telephone booth sound, right? So it's not like, oh, there's a telephone booth preset or there's a 80s reverb preset. You know, some of the other pedals, let's say like the Genloss Mark II and the Microcosm, it does feel like more like a preset machine and less like a sound design tool. And did I mention that the sounds that you do design sound amazing? So are there any cons with this pedal? I don't really have anything bad to say about the pedal, but in the interest of kind of balance, maybe, you know, obviously the price tag, $400 is still a lot of money for a guitar pedal. And, you know, maybe some of the button combinations to do some of the functions like accessing the secondary options or even just saving presets. I mean, maybe this is just a setting like, you know what? I mean, I might just need to save this preset here because I remember I was shooting a video and I wanted to save a preset I found. I couldn't remember how to save it. You know, price tag, hidden button combinations. Those are things that you already know about Chase Bliss going in before you even buy the pedal, right? Specifically about the pedal, maybe the jitter mode. It's not my favorite. If you go too hard on that, it can start to sound really staticky or white noisy. But you know, I mean, that's not even a hard problem, right? Like you just dial down the loss, or maybe you dial down the global, and you can get some really, really cool sounds. So I'm not even hating on jitter mode, right? I'm just, you know, trying to find something to kind of be a little bit more balanced. What can I say, right? It's an amazing pedal. And just to be clear, I paid $400 for my pedal. I am not affiliated with Chase Bliss. I'm not a shill for them. Speaking of shilling though, if you appreciate this content, be sure to like this video and share it. Subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell. Normally, I do some comparisons, but the Lossy is a fairly unique pedal as far as I'm aware of, right? I mean, it's a digital degradation pedal, but it's not really like a bit crusher or a sample rate reducer like my Meris Autobit Jr. And it has a totally different vibe than something like the Gen Loss Mark II. Maybe the closest thing would be a hologram chroma. I've not actually used one before, but having seen the layout, and I do own a microcosm, so I wouldn't be surprised if the chroma sounds awesome, but feels more like a preset machine rather than a sound design tool. I have to say, I think the Lossy, as of now, is my favorite Chase Bliss pedal ever. I mean, the CXM 1978 sounds amazing as well, but at the end of the day, it's still just a reverb with some delay capabilities, right? The Lossy gives you basically twice the functionality at half the price, and it sounds amazing. It's probably going to be my first Chase Bliss pedal that I use as an always-on pedal. The Lossy just brings something, just a really awesome vibe to my sound. Will I still feel this way a year from now? After all, I was also in love with the Habit when I first got it, but no longer own it because it was hard for me to fit into the tracks. Lossy feels like it's kind of slot into any track that I wanted to. And until next time, remember, the music we create is more powerful than the music we consume. So keep jamming.